the Black Friday, Cyber Monday prep really starts in October. Don't jump into it maybe like the Thursday or, Thanksgiving or the week of Black Friday, Cyber Monday. Your cost per click is just going to be so high. You're going to be scatterbrained. There's going to be so much for you to do. Start early, start building up to that. How's it going, everybody? It's Gene Villanos here. Another episode of the PPC Cave. It is episode 85 today, and the title for today is Google Ads BFCM and Q4 secrets for 2025. A little bit of a mouthful, but Google Ads BFCM and Q4 secrets for 2025. Again, episode 85. I am back with y'all once again. And before I get into the topic, I want to remind everyone about Opteo. Opteo is our favorite software to help us manage multiple clients within Google Ads and also Bing, Microsoft Ads. So one thing about Opteo is it just helps me streamline in this time when it comes to Q4. I have to look at several different clients, several different accounts. One way I could just organize my thoughts and do the analysis is using Opteo. Without Opteo, I'd be super lost just because there's so many different things I have to check. There's so many different Black Friday, Cyber Monday offerings, deals, new search campaigns. It's just a lot when it comes to Q4. And Opteo just kind of keeps everything organized and helps me become a little bit more efficient when it comes to partitioning my time for each and every client. So go into the video description or Spotify or YouTube, and you could check out the link, and that is opteo.com/the PPC Cave. If you let them know that you came from the PPC Cave, they'll take that standard 14-day trial and upgrade you to a 28-day trial. And you could see for yourself if it's a good use of your money or, a good use of your time. And I think definitely for both of those things, it is. So jumping into Google Ads, Black Friday, Cyber Monday, plus Q4 secrets for 2025. Today is the day before Halloween and is October 30th, 2025. Right now is the best time to start. You should have probably started a little bit earlier, but it's okay. The first point that I have to make is we have to set the stage for Q4. A little bit of background on me is before I knew what Google Ads was, before I knew anything about PPC or digital marketing, my entry to what I'm doing now is through eCommerce. A lot of y'all know that. Maybe some of y'all. But I've iterated so many times. I had a big cartel. If you know what big cartel is, you're an OG. Bigcartel.com. That's where I was selling my thrifted clothes. I was again thrifting Jordans, Polo Ralph Lauren, YSL, anything Bape, anything that I found at the thrift. And I was doing e-commerce on that website and also on eBay. And then I figured out I need more traffic. I need to learn Google Ads. So I am an e-commerce guy first before anything, before Google Ads. So one thing that I have to let people know, do not treat Q4 just like any other day. I sometimes see that, when I'm either onboarding clients or speaking to clients at this time, and I get a lot of inquiries during this time just because everyone is trying to gear up for Black Friday, Cyber Monday. But in the past, I've gotten it where, okay, like, what are you doing for BFCM? And they say nothing. I'm just doing this. I'm just going to kind of keep it chill, like, no, you have to take advantage. Why do you have to take advantage? It's because there is a lot more people searching in Q4. And that's just plain and simple, especially during Black Friday, Cyber Monday. People are saving money. People are waiting for this day. And it really, is one of those things where you could kind of see it within Google Ads because cost per click will go up. Or if you're doing Meta, CPM will go up. The reason why it's going up is because there's more competitive drive to bid on these keywords. So if more people are bidding, then of course the cost is going to be higher. And why are people bidding more? It's because there's definitely just more volume, not only more volume, but more intent to purchase during this time. So one of the points, do not treat this like every other day of the week. At least if you have one day where you just, okay, all we're focusing on is Black Friday, Cyber Monday. How can we get our ducks in a row, and what can we do to start early and execute these things for this December, moving into January? So one thing I kind of alluded to that is the Black Friday, Cyber Monday prep really starts in October, or, in this case, early November. Don't jump into it maybe like the Thursday, or, Thanksgiving, or the week of Black Friday, Cyber Monday. Your cost per click is just going to be so high. You're going to be scatterbrained. There's going to be so much for you to do. Start early, start building up to that. That's one thing that you have to understand, is if you're running ads right now and priming the people that are willing to come back around Black Friday, Cyber Monday, the cost is so much lower right now than it would be later on if you started later. So start creating that demand, start creating that awareness right now. And one thing that you could also do is analyze last year. Take time and be like, okay, like what worked last year, either in my Shopify or whatever backend you're using. Take a look at Google Ads. You could go as far as even taking a look at Microsoft Ads or Meta. Just take a look at everything in aggregate and say, okay, what were the big sellers last year? What did we do? How much did we do? What did we do before, maybe even 2 years back? But at least take a look at last year and see what worked. This is really, really important. Thirdly, under Black Friday, Cyber Monday prep, is you have to have adequate stock. You could have a great sale, you could have a great offering, great website, but if you don't have adequate stock and inventory, primarily inventory that's ready to ship out, and people aren't waiting 3 months to get, then you're really gonna leave a lot of the money on the table for sure. So understand, you have to have adequate stock to correspond to whatever Black Friday, Cyber Monday offering you're going to show. And thirdly, sell what sells. That's why I'm telling you to go back to last year and analyze that. Sell what sells. What does that mean? This is not the time to test or to push products that are unproven, or maybe you have dead stock. No. Sell what sells. I'm a firm believer that Black Friday, Cyber Monday it's important because you want to accentuate the positive. So whatever's positive, whatever's selling on your website, that's what you want to offer on Black Friday, Cyber Monday. The reason for that being is the market has already told you in the past, if you have dead inventory, they don't want that. They don't want that during the regular months. Why do you think they're going to want that during Black Friday, Cyber Monday? Black Friday, Cyber Monday is not going to somehow bring in a new type of market and give you sales on products that you haven't sold before or that are unproven. So sell what sells. And lastly is understand that you have to probably dish out a heavier discount. A lot of the times clients push back on this. They're like, oh, we're only going to do 5%, only going to do, the bare minimum. Don't look at these sales as a loss. Understand that you have to be successful, have some type of email marketing or post purchase in play for this to actually work. But don't look at this as a loss, just because you're going to gain so much more organic if you could bring in that front end PPC or Google Ads cost and then retarget them or keep them warm in some type of email sequence in the future. So know that if you're going to give a discount, do the numbers and make sure you're at that, not max, but you're not just saying, okay, here's 2%, 5%. If that's all you can do and you've written it out, better than nothing. But if you could really go heavier on a discount, I would suggest that. So next, the Google Ads strategy. And by the way, all of this stuff is going to be on my website, tempest59.com/blog/ 2025-BFCM checklist. And if you didn't get that, it'll be in the description. Obviously, you could just click it and it'll be easy to go. But I might be going a little too fast, but just know that it's going to be on there so you could look at it, digest it at your own pace, and it'll be just right there for you to check out the checklist on my website. So Google Ads strategy. First and foremost, Google Merchant Center. I know a lot of people don't jump on Google Merchant Center unless we see that our products are messed up or we see that, there's something that needs attention. But understand this is right now in, October, early November is the right time for you to jump on and be like, okay, what needs attention under my Google Merchant Center? Is my Google Merchant Center health, my products looking good? Because if they're not, you have to optimize that. I mean, it's clear because you're going to be on shopping if you're on e-commerce. Also, add BFCM in your product titles. That's a really good way to differentiate or just to tell Google, hey, we have some type of BFCM special or BFCM bundle for this particular product. Make sure it's within the first 70 characters of that title, but put BFCM in there so that they know everything is matching up, or Google knows that everything is matching up, that you are showing that, because that's definitely going to be a search term that's searched. And thirdly, seasonal shipping setup in Google Merchant Center. Have this all squared away. I know it gets a little wonky when it comes to Christmas time, when it comes to even Black Friday or just New Year's. All that needs to be figured out in your shipping setup in Google Merchant Center. You could go and click seasonal shipping setup and figure that out there. Secondly, under Google Ads strategy is Google Ads sales and promos. Understand how to do that on Google Merchant Center, and it's super, super easy. You just have to go in there in Google Merchant Center. You could do another feed and you could do the sale price. And what it'll look like is on the Google Shopping or your product listing ad, you'll see the old price crossed out with a new lower price. This will show in your shopping results. So set the start and end date for that within a product feed so that you don't have to worry about it. Okay, it's the 26th of November or whatever, the day after Thanksgiving, or maybe, I don't know, the 29th of November, whatever your end date is, make sure that that's on there so that it'll just automatically go away and then it'll come back later on to your regular prices that you had previously put. All right. I have so much here. So, listen to this video. And then I really suggest everyone to go jump on the checklist just because you have to kind of have more of a visual here. Another one is, if you're on your website, say you're using Shopify, you could actually just drop your price manually on Shopify, and Google is smart enough. You have your API set up so that it's being updated from Google Merchant Center to whatever is on your Shopify website, that Google will detect if your price has dropped on Shopify, and it'll show a price drop. It'll be like a little blurb on Google Shopping. It'll say price drop. And that's another way that could kind of get you more attention within the product listing shopping feed or shopping ads section on google.com, just because you're neck and neck or shoulder to shoulder with all these other people, all these other competitors and websites that may be showing the same thing, maybe even the same photo. So you have to have a way to stand out. And one way is if you drop your price a little bit on Shopify, Google should be able to pick that up. But understand that Google will scan the website, right? But if you've only recently dropped the price, so it might show as it could show as a call out in your shopping ad that says price drop, but no, it won't show if your price has been low for a long time. No, that's not, Google's not going to track that. Google's not going to show price drop. So understand that Google will scan your website if you've recently dropped your price on your Shopify or whatever backend you're using. The last part of I guess the promo section is Google Merchant Center promotions. Why I wouldn't use this. So this is what I'm referring to is when you go into Google Merchant Center on the left-hand side, I think it's still under marketing. You could click promotions. And then you fill out the code, you fill out the percentage of what it is, and then they have to match it to whatever code is being used on your website. And most of the time, this is like a fail. I get mine rejected all the time. And it says, oh, this didn't work out on Shopify or on your Google Merchant Center. The promo has been rejected. Beyond just that, I think a lot of people will try to use this, but for Black Friday, Cyber Monday, I think the other ones that I explained earlier, like doing Google Ads and sales and promotions through a feed or even price drop through Shopify, I think that might be a little better just because with Google Merchant Center promotions, it's going to say there is a promotion. They're just going to say $5 off or 20% off, but you won't actually see that price on Google Shopping. You'll just see that there is that promotion. The customer has to click it and then go to the checkout and input the actual promo code also before they could see that price. And I think that's just too many steps when it comes to Black Friday, Cyber Monday. There's a lot of attention grabbing going on. So I think the more streamlined that you could do it, the better it's going to be. So I wouldn't really use Google Merchant Center promotions if there are other options like I laid out earlier, but this is totally up to you. I just want to show you or tell you about how I would view this. And another thing that you could do, of course, that I like doing is promotion extensions on Google Ads. So promotion extensions, if you're on your Performance Max campaign, go into your asset. You could click your asset group and you could edit it. And then under assets, you'll see like prices or call out site links, and then underneath there would be promotions. You could actually put your promotion in. You could tell Google Ads how many dollars it's going to be taken off, or what is the actual percentage that's going to be taken off alongside the code, and then so it'll be there on your Performance Max campaign, and you could actually set start and end date also. So if you could do that, it'd be easier so that you're not running promotions. People are going to be like after the fact, and there you might forget to like actually take it off. So you could do a start and end on the extension promotions. Promotion extension through Performance Max, and that's super convenient. And then when they click it, it'll be right there. They can see everything and it'll get that discount. And then also one thing that I would do in Google Ads, this is again the Google Ads strategy portion within everything within Google Ads, is set up Black Friday, Cyber Monday specific site links. So you could do this on Performance Max, you could do this on search, but if you do have it, utilize specific Black Friday, Cyber Monday landing page. So you could edit it. You could put on the headline, BFCM sale, direct it to the BFCM specific landing page. Or if you don't have that, at least just put BFCM as a headline, direct the landing page to either your homepage or your specific product pages that you have a sale on. And this tells Google Ads that, hey, they're running BFCM. This is matching the search terms that are coming in this time where there's heavy volume of searches that have BFCM in. So yeah, create a BFCM specific site link, and then you could end this after I believe there's a start and end date for this too, so that it doesn't go on. You won't have that site link running whenever it's just normal time, normal season. And the very last thing, which a lot of people don't actually do, that's why I just made it last, just because recency bias, is edit your copy, your existing Google Ads. Even if you were to create a new Black Friday, Cyber Monday, or Black Friday, Cyber Monday campaign, just know that your current ads are still going to run. So edit your copy, create urgency and scarcity, and create start and end dates for your copy, and just be like, okay, well, this is a Black Friday, Cyber Monday. It could be as easy as a headline, BFCM sale, and then your website, or BFCM sale until XYZ date. Just make sure that you're specific. Make sure that you're creating sense of urgency by including an end date there, and scarcity, maybe like limited time only. And this again is prompting Google Ads to say, oh, okay, well, this advertiser is on point. They have BFCM copy within their headlines or descriptions. They're up to date. Google likes that. Google doesn't like stale old copy just being used and reused, especially in this point, or in this time where your other competitors are going to have this. They're going to rank above you, and you're not going to rank just because your copy or headline is not up to date. Granted, that's not the only thing, but it's super important to communicate that to your searchers or your advertisers, especially if you're running a BFCM campaign or BFCM offer. Why not make sure that your existing copy and your existing campaigns that you're going to run way after Black Friday or Cyber Monday still has some of that copy to just let people know that you guys are updated and relevant and recent. But be very specific. If you have a discount, if you have a BOGO, if you have free shipping, just put that in your headlines and descriptions. Okay. Man. So all of those things are. Did I miss anything? I feel like I missed something, but it's okay if I did. But anyway, so all of those are essentially for Google Ads. Like within Google Ads, before you jump into Black Friday, Cyber Monday, have this all figured out already. This is the promo that you're going to run. Now is a different section that I want to talk about is target and retarget. Let me take a sip of water. This is why I miss Ryan. Ryan will be back soon just because I don't have to yap the whole time. So this section is target and retarget. What do I mean by target? Target means pre-Black Friday, Cyber Monday. So what I mean by target is warming up the leads, creating that demand already right now, or whenever you could figure it out before actually Black Friday or the actual Black Friday, Cyber Monday day. What you can do is set up a search campaign to direct pre-sales or opt-ins for landing pages, specifically for Black Friday, Cyber Monday. And I'm doing this for some of my independent clients where they actually have a pre-sale product page where it's not open yet, but technically you're checking out, quote unquote, of putting your email and clicking submit. And then during Black Friday, it'll go live. And then essentially they've had more than just those 24 hours on Black Friday or those 48 hours on Cyber Monday. They've had the whole month before to gather these sales already previously, which I mentioned before. It's going to be at cheaper cost per click. So make sure you target. So that's pre-Black Friday, Cyber Monday. You can create an easy setup search campaign just for that, but make sure that your conversion tracking is firing correctly, just because you might have to tweak it if it's maybe a submit for instead of just a regular sale. If you want to be very, very granular, I do say do that just because I'm of the school of thought that if you're going to do a submit form and you're not tracking it, then how is Google Ads going to optimize that? So if you have to create new conversion tracking for just a submit form, do that. But, make sure that you're actually tracking the conversions for this. Set up a search campaign, direct to a pre-sales or opt-in landing page. You don't have to have a product page for just Black Friday, Cyber Monday sales or Black Friday, Cyber Monday products. You could have just a regular landing page where it says, are you interested in Black Friday sale? If you are interested, well, then here's 15% off, because it'll only be 10% once you hit XYZ date. The Black Friday, Cyber Monday day, it'll only be 10% off. But if you're a month ahead, it will actually give you 15% off. Have them sign up, and that's you retargeting, or that's you targeting pre-Black Friday, Cyber Monday, creating that demand and warming up those leads. Now, for Black Friday, Cyber Monday, just understand that it's really important for you also to create, if you're running Performance Max, you should be, if you're in e-commerce, to have just one BFCM specific asset group. So everything within this asset group will have lifestyle photos and videos. And I think now more than ever, BFCM is going to really need your full energy when it comes to design and maybe AI, different lifestyle images, backgrounds, whatever it may be, just because there's so many good designs being done by AI that if you're not doing that, you're kind of leaving a lot to the other competitors that are doing that. You're basically just giving them sales. So have that figured out also. But in this asset group, you could create an audience, right, for all visitors, add to cart, abandon checkout, and it's, again, cheaper if you start right now. October. We're cheaper if you start early November also. So what you're doing is priming people ahead of time to let people know within your offering that, hey, we do have a Black Friday, Cyber Monday sale. Perhaps if you purchase now, or perhaps if you opt in right now, we'll give you a higher tier discount. And then when BFCM comes, it'll be still good discount, but not as good as if you were to do it right now. And then after. So post BFCM, also understand that you can retarget these audiences or retarget these people that have come in to your funnel, to your website as a visitor through your demand gen campaign. So one thing that I am testing more now is demand gen. So with demand gen, what you could do is create an audience of either people that have visited during that specific period on an abandoned checkout or add to cart, and just run demand gen. So what it's going to do is basically keep you top of mind, follow them around YouTube, Gmail, Discover. And this is super important just because we don't stop right whenever it's Cyber Monday and it's over. No, there's still that drop off even through January that people, maybe they didn't purchase. Maybe they thought, okay, I have to have XYZ budget, for Christmas presents, and I couldn't really get this one thing for maybe me or maybe for someone. But there's always that lingering. I'm just yapping, but there's always that lingering, what they call the fifth quarter, I guess, in January, that could really revert back to how you treated people or how you brought traffic within Q4, within Black Friday, Cyber Monday. So don't just stop during Cyber Monday. Create a demand gen campaign in January or December, and then just make sure that, hey, it's still retargeting people. You can maybe have it stop in January, but yeah, just demand gen. It'll spit out your videos, your images, and just be like, hey, this is still a sale going on. Come back and purchase. You looked at our website already. Here's the special offering, discount, and deal. And make sure that discount, deal, those offerings are still live on your website. So obviously they'll get the discount. So yeah, this was definitely this was definitely a loaded episode, but I just want to be very thorough when it comes to what I would do or the experiences that I've done for other clients when it comes to Black Friday, Cyber Monday, and maybe your e-commerce website doesn't, you don't really thrive or you haven't really tested this, but it's a good time to test. It's a good time to test, create a new campaign, create that new landing page. It'll just be like, hey, Black Friday, Cyber Monday is coming up, but this is a pre-Black Friday, Cyber Monday sale. You'll get 15% off instead of just the regular 10% for the other folk that's just going to come in later on. But if you purchase right now, you really get a better deal, get a better offer. So that's one thing that I would definitely test if you haven't tested before. And hopefully this checklist on my website will be a little bit more of like a guiding light for you to show, okay, well, maybe I can't implement all these, but at least I can implement one or two things and try and test it out. So I think this is a super important and relevant episode. Of course, Black Friday, Cyber Monday is coming up, but remember, it's not just Black Friday and Cyber Monday. You can retarget the people that did not purchase, that added to cart, that began checkout during Black Friday, Cyber Monday in Q5, technically. When would that be? Like after Christmas, I guess. So just know that there's still life there. Really squeeze it all out, especially when it comes to that Q5 sometime in January. So again, if you have any questions, we're at theppccave@gmail.com. We release every Monday at 12 a.m. Mountain Time on Spotify Video, YouTube. We're on socials, IG Reels, TikTok, YouTube Shorts, and we're going to continue pumping out content. If you have anything that you want to comment, just comment it below under this video, or any topic, comment it. And it's always our pleasure. Again, Opteo, you could go to our video description, www.opteo.com/theppccave. Upgrade that 14-day trial to 28-day free trial. It's not going to cost you anything. Might as well do it, especially during Black Friday, Cyber Monday. You're going to need more analysis. You're going to need more help. So you could do that with Opteo. And I think if you really, really like this, again, my checklist on my website, I think it's going to be easier to digest just because this was a loaded episode. But if there's nothing else, bye for now.